Here we go. This is so interesting. And it says I'm live. Good morning. Let's see. Too low. A New Awakening is the song on the meditation playlist. And so I got my feet in the tub, of course. I had a very interesting dream last night. So, as I've talked about before, I got like 4 hours of sleep before I woke up yesterday. So that's progress. Um, I went to bed, it was like 10 something maybe. And I think I woke up, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. Yeah, it was like 10 something. And I woke up at 2:20. Or I woke up a little bit before, but I opened my eyes at 2:20. I did some schoolwork because I was like, if I'm up, I might as well work. And then I'll probably get tired later. So then I can take a nap in the middle of the day and not feel bad about not getting this work done. Um, so I did that. And before I went back to sleep, I indulged in a little bit more nostalgia, myalgia, nostalgia. And I went to bed just like, am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now? Like, I wish that there was some way. Because I am sure and I was sure, but then I'm like, is this really it? I was just like, I need a little bit of confirmation right now. And I had a few dreams that started as a series of dreams. And it was really nice. So I guess it is cool to sometimes, I don't know. Dreamscape was one of the last cards that came out yesterday, wasn't it? It should still be on the top of the deck. Was it Dreamscape? What was it? Ooh. Yeah. Emotional Freedom, Dreamscape, and Wisdom were three of the cards, the last three cards that came out yesterday, right? And I was able to get some peace in that dream. I feel like that's the most time lately that I spent someone in a dream. And Utopia. Hey, and we just had emotional freedom. This reminds me of the emotional freedom card, but Utopia came out. Bottom of the deck is Illumination. I'm going to read the entry in a second and then do what I've been doing for the past few days, right? But yeah, it was really nice. It started out like first we were just chatting. Things were kind of awkward or tense, I guess. And then there was like this relationship coach type person. Is that what they call them? Or relationship counselor type of person? But it was like in a classroom setting. And he showed us a video which just played out. Since it was a dream, it wasn't like me watching the video, it was like just the video. But there were three people, right? There were two people, and they were like trying to get in shape for something. They were training for something, I guess. I don't know, probably training for something. And there were three people. So two people, it was like this track, right? So there were two people in the middle of the track, and they were like drinking something and then weighing themselves. And like that's it. So I don't know if they were on a juice cleanse or whatever. But then there was another person who would drink like a jug of milk, and then you would see it because it was primarily focused on the first two, right? But on the outskirts, you would see him like drinking a jug of milk and running along the track. And then the next time he was drinking 2 jugs of milk and running along the track. And then he would drink more and more jugs of milk along the track. He would drink more and more jugs of milk, and then they were like trailing behind him along the track, right? And you still have these two people. He was getting like bigger the more he was drinking, and they were doing the juice cleanse, and I guess they were slimming down. I don't know. They looked the same to me. And they kept weighing themselves. They were just like on the scale and doing this juice cleanser, like they were only drinking, and that's it. But then when he got to like 8 jugs, you could see him like, or I could see him like all of the jugs of milk or whatever that he drank. He was actually like pulling a train around that track. And so on his last few laps, since he was like actually doing work, it's like he was fueling his body and then he was doing the work. He was actually doing training. Dude got like in shape. And it was interesting because at first it was just like he was getting bigger and bigger the more he drank. But by the end of it, like he was the one in shape. And then the other two sitting in the middle just doing the juice cleanser or whatever were in worse shape than when they started. It looked like they were more fit when they started and they were less fit. And not to claim like, thinness as a measure of fitness, but in the metaphor that was the dream, it's probably an easy correlation to make. But yeah, he was so he was fit and I was like, what? And he could pull trains. So I don't know. But it was like I was late to that. So then I was like, well, what were y'all talking about before I got in here? Like, do you know something right now that I don't know? And then I woke up, or the dream shifted, right? Well, it ended first, and then we helped the dude pack up his stuff. And it was so funny because we helped pack up his stuff, and there wasn't enough stuff for me to like carry anything. So I held the door to be, to contribute, to be courteous, to be polite. And they're working out, or they're walking out, not working out. And I can't remember what else we were talking about between like us talking to this dude. Um, but when he passed me in the door, and before he closed the door, right, because he was still walking through it, he said, like, I can tell where you're going after this is over. Or he was like, I can tell where you're going to go or where you're going. And I was like, oh, well, hopefully to the good place. I mean, like, I knew what he meant, but I was like, still like, well, hopefully I'll be in a good spot by the end of all of this. Um, and then it was like I was in a different dream. And I wasn't me until after. But I was like, it was like some girl. I was some random girl. And we were in a place that we weren't supposed to be in. But I recognized that the place that we were in was the same as the dream I had just had. Hey, Miyoshi, Grand Rising. I'm in here just doing my little foot soaking dump for today, before I get into the master reading for today. But I recognized it as the same like hallway that the relationship or whoever coach had taken us down to get to that classroom. Roughly, it was roughly the same. And so I'm like, wait, hold up. So I'm like going down the same hallway. I'm making the same turns. At the same time, like I know that we're in a space that we're not supposed to be in. And no one is like stopping us, but I'm also on alert, like, try to stop me if you want to. So I get to the room and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the room that we were in. And it was like I was trying to prove it to somebody, or maybe I was just trying to prove it to myself, right? Um, but then it was like we come out, and while we're leaving that area, that's when like people want to start like trying to stop us. It was like, y'all ain't gonna try to stop us all this way. And then for some reason, there was like a group of people with me, and some of them were children. So I was like, act up if y'all want to. Y'all ain't laying a single finger on these kids. We are walking out of here safe and sound. And I don't know, but for whatever reason, in some dreams, a chair is my weapon of choice. People throwing chairs, I'm throwing chairs. So I got a chair in my hand and I'm like, y'all better back up. And then there was this other like It was like they were like crowded around us, but no one was like touching us. And then there's this like little random kid looking person who like threw a chair, and I like deflected the chair with my hand. I just like swatted it away. I was like, I told y'all not to mess with us. But I didn't like, I ain't go crazy. I just kept walking. And then as we get towards the doorway to exit this sort of whatever this was, I see a bunch of like freshman, sophomore. I think they were all girls for some reason. I don't know. A bunch of freshmen, sophomore, look like basketball players coming in. And, I'm more focused on getting the kids out. And then when they're all out, not coming out the door, I looked at one of their shirts and they had the P, and I was like, oh, snap, I went to Purdue. Boy, they're at. Um, but yeah, it was an interesting series of dreams. And I guess I'm really glad I had it. And then I think there was a moment after that dream where we met up again. Um, so yeah, dreams are, I don't know, whenever I feel myself pull away too far, then it's like I'll have a dream. That's not the only time I'll have a dream, but especially in those times, it's like I'll have a dream. It's like, okay. Well, yeah, it was an interesting few dreams. Lots of like venting, I guess, just getting stuff off of my chest. I felt kind of bad. I was like, ugh. And I feel like most of the times in dreams, it's like me upset. And then the other person's like, what are you upset about? And I was like, oh, because I did this, or because I did that, or because this is what's happening. And then the other person is always like, it's not even that big of a deal. I'm like, okay, well, it is, but it's not. Um, but all right, I got these. I guess as a general reminder, the cards over here were the Page of Swords, the Five of Cups, the Two of Swords, the Six of Wands, and the Fool card. And now I'm going to get into this shuffle. Or I'm going to read the entry first. I read them ahead of time to make sure I didn't share my personal business. 3 and 4 came out on the same day. 4 is just an oracle card, so I'm not going to read 4, and 4 is kind of personal, so I'm not going to read 4. But looking at 4, even though I did engage in karmic, you see these? I need to do better. My mom is supposed to be doing something so my hair can actually grow. I might get a haircut, Loki. I've been thinking about it. And I didn't want to do it because there's a whole lot of people getting like isolation haircuts, isolation shaving their head, isolation dyeing their hair. I'm like, I'm not falling into that trend. But Uranus is conjuncting my ascendant, so it's time to change up my appearance. Let me stop. What was I talking about? Yeah, so I talked about my karmic situation a few days ago, and I read this entry right here. And that karmic situation actually helped me get over some things that I was kind of sort of going through at the time. And it wasn't extremely like present, but even though the situation was capital K karmic, it brought me mental clarity in some areas. And I just read this and I'm like, wow, I don't even have to worry about this anymore because of that situation. So, you know, it was kind of bad, but it wasn't all bad, if you know what I mean. I learned many a lesson. So you're never too far off the path, but you can still get back on. So that's about entry number 4. That's what I'll say about that. And the card that came out was the sacral chakra. So fill in the blanks. But we're good now. Anyway, so I'm going to read mega reading number 4. The oracle card that came out was, this is interesting because these cards actually came out yesterday. Inspirational creation, alchemy, the elements, and innovation, right? And then I'll read the entry. It says, I'll just read it. We are dumping over here on this week. So if I put myself out there, this is my journey. This is my story. I'm human too. We all have experiences that we learn and grow from. I feel like I'm supposed to create blind and that I will intuitively find a path to my awaiting fortune and abundance. Ding, ding, ding. That's like the spot I was literally talking about being in. I'm seeing the Two of Swords as the blind swordsman. She's not holding the swords crossed in contention. She's honing her senses and preparing to strike in any or all directions. The Queen, let me see which Queen it was. The Queen of Pentacles. The Queen symbolizes that the harvest is here and ready to be reaped. I'm seeing the story as the swordsman who becomes queen. Being in touch with my intuition will be the key here, and striking while the iron is hot. Any hesitation in battle will lead to death. The trust is so immense that both have a firm foothold. Both can stand their ground and defend their territory without moving, either by commanding her own blade or the blades of others. The emphasis here is on staying kind. The queen has a pentacle in hand, but she's not clutching it. The Earth Queen is loving and tender, but not in a super watery way. She's the grounded, stable love, like a calm water. Remember in this time to stay guarded. Do not give so freely to those for which it is not felt to give to. Recognize and remember that we can only help those who not only want to be helped, but who are ready to act. Be careful not to create anything illusionary. With great power comes great responsibility, and my gifts are not meant to harm or misguide. Lastly, don't extend to everyone. Whenever there is a mushy moment, remember the lesson of the Three of Hearts. It's the Three of Swords. I don't know why I put Three of Hearts. It happens sometimes. Y'all know me. It might hurt, but not everyone can be helped. We aren't the Queen of Cups. I was like, ooh, okay. Tough love. So that was the entry for today, and some of it is relevant. I feel like I am a lot more tender than I was when I did that. Very much so. Extremely much more so. I'm gonna shuffle these. Ooh, cut into the Emperor and the King of Cups. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Emperor and the King of Cups. I'm gonna just give this a few shuffles. I'm gonna pull the cards, the Oracle cards, and then I'm gonna do this. Now it's the Chariot and the King of Cups. Man, that dream was it's exactly what I needed last night. It's exactly what I needed. The Magician and the Chariot. I'll do one more. The Ten of Wands and the Magician. It's like we manifest hurdles to learn to overcome them. Bottom of the deck. Death. Transformation. You could be dealing with a Scorpio, or you could be going through it right now. But like Winston Churchill said, when you're going through it, keep going, because you don't want to stop in the middle of it. Then you'll be surrounded by it. Transformation and the throat portal could definitely be dealing with a Scorpio or really be going through it, because transformation came out again. This card comes out so often though. And then we have the throat portal. That's transformation through a realization and communication of a truth, or transforming to be able to speak the truth, or transforming in order to reclaim the power of your truth, right? A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Words hold power, thoughts become things. There you go. I was like, where am I going with this? I see a chance, I take it slow. Again, I'm doing the foot soaking, so that's why I'm like situated awkwardly. Let's see what card we got for today. There we go. 2 cards again with the root. No, harmonic resolution at the bottom of the deck. Harmonic resolution. So maybe some of that communication about whatever is happening right now. Maybe some things will be worked out in this retrograde season. Oh, of course. Of course. I've seen her every day. Every day. Who wants to guess what one of the other cards is? The one that we've been seeing a lot lately, which maybe touched this retrograde. Who knows? These. Forgiveness. Again. Number 16. And exploration, number 15. Forgiveness and exploration, 15 and 16. I'm like, I shuffle these. I don't know how. And I've seen this card so much without this card by it. So something's happening. Forgiveness, again, is redemption, rebirth, and regeneration. Exploration is boldness, unknown, and limitless. I'm looking for. Okay, give me a second. I see a chance I take this home. If this wasn't here, I can move this closer. But if I move, this doesn't move any closer. Oh, goodness. I could have just used the other light, but that's too bright. Okay, give me a. What if I like to do this? Y'all can probably hear all these fans I got going, can't y'all? The temperature went up, and I wasn't trying to sweat last night, and I'm not trying to sweat now. So if y'all can't hear me, I guess I'm not meant to be heard right now. Kind of sort of plain and simple. That 9 of Pentacles with that Death card. Another 9. She the first 9 you saw yesterday. Let's get some. Ooh, okay, I'll take that. Thank you. Thank you. Confirmation. Something came to my mind. I don't remember what it was. I'm looking for. Oh, I just saw the Queen of Pentacles. Oh, well, she got shuffled. It was the Queen and the 3 of Pentacles at the deck after I saw the 9 of Pentacles. So she getting her level up. And then there's that 9 of Swords. The 9s are coming out. Let's give this a cut. Oh, well. I'm just hunched over here doing what I do. Let's see this. What is this forgiveness and exploration about? Forgiveness and exploration. How are you doing today, Miyoshi? Did I ask you? I don't think I did. I'm sorry. I'm looking for. I was trying to remember that dream. And I think I saw my mom at one point, or we saw my mom at one point. Ain't nothing coming out. So we're going to talk up. As soon as I say it, then the whole deck want to fall out. I was like, so we're going to top, middle, bottom this or what? Bottom of the deck is that Queen of Pentacles. There she is. I told you I saw the Queen. And the 9. A whole little stack came out, and I'm taking every single card. Glad to hear it. We are now officially the second day into all of these retrogrades. I got my feet in the water. I mean, I had a really, really, really good dream last night, so I have no complaints. I can't complain. I am great. Thanks. And also, I am 3 days into. This isn't really a meditation, but like I said, I do a little check-in first, and if I need to like actually sit and meditate before I come live, then I do that. I haven't really had to, but I do a check-in. And I got my feet in the water, I got the salt down here. Oh, I have tea today. How quickly I forget. I would have went the whole time with this being cold. So the mint tea bag isn't going in the tub today. It's going in the cup. and then that'll warm things up internally, right? Because again, you have the cool and the hot. The cool balances the masculine side, the hot balances the feminine side. You need to get you a foot spa. Girl, it is so funny that you said that because I thought you were my other friend for a second because we know a dude named Drake. And I ain't gonna put her tea out there any more than I did yesterday or the day before. I'm like, oh, I keep saying I ain't gonna put her tea. I mean, I didn't really, not like really, 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 but I'll just say that I know a dude named Drake. So it's interesting that you say that, as if I didn't just put her out there. Well, the nature of the dream is different, but oh yeah, did I talk about it? I had another dream of a YouTuber, another reader, and I haven't really watched her in a minute. And she had this like class, and she was talking about some stuff. I don't know why I'm dreaming about readers all of a sudden, but she's like telling us to do something, right? And then she does something. She like tries to scare me, or she tries to get me off balance or something. Because it was like a grounding, centering, balancing activity, and then she tried to shake me up, right? And I mean, I could like see her out of the corner of my eye. I could like see her coming to do it. And so when she didn't do it, she made a big deal out of it. She was like, see, like, and then she called me, she referenced me by name, like she knew me, like we've talked before. And I was like, girl, I just watched you on the YouTube. I don't think I've ever, maybe I have commented before. But she talking to me like she know me. It is a dream, I guess. But she was like, did y'all see that? Did y'all see how Patrick like did whatever? Like I knew he would. And if you look, if you could tell, it was like when I was coming to do something, he saw me out of the corner of his eye and then something happened. I don't know. But he wasn't shook. Unflappable. And now I'm gonna drink the whole thing. But she was like, yeah, and then she was like, there's something she said something about maybe an interaction we had in the past. And I was just like, it sounded like something that happened, but that I forgot about. But when she said it, I was like, oh yeah, because I was like, how you know my name? Yeah, I don't know why these readers are popping up in my dreams. I woke up at 2:20 and I sent because I was talking to Clorinda because I woke up in the middle of the night and she's, around the world where it's not the middle of the night. Um, and I was like, I just saw another YouTube reader in my dream. It was so interesting. I don't know what's going on, but you chill with Drake. Have you done that before? I feel like you've done that before. Oh, okay. Let me not get too far off course, but I feel like you've done that before. At the top of the stack is this Emperor, and the Queen of Pentacles is on the bottom of the deck. We're talking about. Hold on, I'm gonna see how many cards there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a full Celtic cross, so we're gonna do it. That is a full Celtic cross with the Queen of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. So this is going to be the heart. We're going to go heart, challenge, root, past, goal, future, and then work from the bottom up on the side. So at the heart of this is this Emperor. Standing in his way is this Knight of Wands. That's the challenge. The root cause is this Queen of Swords. In the past is this 2 of Wands. The goal is the Empress. I didn't look at these, y'all. His goal is the Empress. Accurate. Okay. This is exploration and forgiveness. And the future is the Ten of Cups. All right. Now I got to think about how I want to do this because on the right side it gets a little sticky. You've had a few dreams of him. Okay. Maybe it's a sign that y'all will meet up one day. Maybe he'll write a song about you because y'all be together. And like, you came into my life and changed it forever. I almost drowned myself with tea, but luckily, I don't think I spilled any. It's just all in my mustache. So this is going to be the space of self, is the Seven of Cups. And then we'll get into external influences, which is that transformation card. Internal influences, which is karma. Ooh. And then I don't want to do an outcome. So I'll do the space of hopes and fears. And it's lovers. Okay, well, maybe that is the outcome. So in these cards, we have the Emperor, the Empress, the Ten of Cups, the Lovers, um, also Death and Karma, and also the Seven of Cups, the Two of Wands, and the Queen of Swords, with the Knight of Wands sort of in the back. So you hope you do get to meet him. Maybe you will. Your dreams are getting you prepared. Honestly, my dreams, especially some of my dreams, and I've never talked about this because I just realized it not too long ago. But by the end of all of this, I'm gonna have been like so prepared for the person who came into my life to serve that role and that purpose and that function. Like, I'm trying to drink too much tea. But I'll just say, like, there are dreams that I had, people that I met, situations that I was in that kind of sort of prepared me for a lot of what's happened in the past year, specifically like year, because I met up with Nathan like a year and a week ago. Today is my grandmother's birthday, by the way. But yeah, I met up with him a year ago, and that sort of kickstarted the like interactive part of it, right? Because it's like you can do all the whatever and whatever, but when it comes to actually being able to open up to somebody and talk to somebody, right? Or just like actual interaction, then it's different. Um, so yeah, so at the heart of this, what is this again? Forgiveness and exploration. We have this emperor who is crossed by the Knight of Wands. In my mind, that's like a conflict of interests. It's a conflict of desires. It's someone who wants to be very stable and wants to be very sturdy and reliable, but at the same time, it's like they want to jump in. Maybe they feel that they're not quite prepared in some ways, or it could be someone who does like kind of sort of want all that, but this blockage that is the Knight of Wands is that like that's Sagittarian energy, right? So they also want to be free, they also want to explore, they want to do this, they want to do that. I don't know, I mean, I guess Venus is retrograde, so everything coming out like this, it's not like I'm asking for it, y'all. But you could read it a different way. Okay, so let's read it a different way. I told y'all what the cards are. Y'all can place the perception on it. Let's try to read this a different way. So we have this Emperor and we have this Knight of Wands. The Emperor speaks to us coming into points of our lives. Oh, I like this. Where we need to take charge, where we need to take a stand, and where we need to make the hard choices, do the hard things that may not bring us pleasure in the now, but will set us up to be better prepared in the long run. And so we have a lot of that Empyrean energy that is blocked by this Knight of Wands. I feel like that's the energy of like, oh, I don't feel like it. I'd rather be doing something else. It doesn't really hold my attention. I want something that, you know, I can experience now. Like the future is unknown and unknowable. I'll be all right. Right. But this is telling me it's like, no, you need to sit down, come up with a plan, and have the dedication to see it fulfilled. Because whatever you're supposed to accomplish in this part of your life, of your journey, is going to prepare you for the next part. And you don't want to go to wherever you're going unprepared because we got the gosh darn Empress up here in the space of, the ultimate goal, what we should be reaching for. Um, at the root cause, we have this Queen of Swords, which is an element of truth. The Queen of Swords is able to speak shadow. Have you ever seen Harry Potter where he speaks, is it parcel tongue? I've only seen the movies through one time. Didn't read the books because I wasn't allowed to as a child, so forgive me. But it's like he's able to speak shadow, like Harry Potter, Harry was to speak to snakes. So there's an element of communication and an element of integration and an element of an increased truth. The Queen of Swords can be the minor justice card, right? And so it's all about us bringing something to justice. Sometimes the majors can be like the universe conspiring to do something, right? But when it comes to the minors, it's more in our power. Sometimes it's how I feel it. Sometimes I don't have to explain it. All I gotta do is say it. Okay, I can cut down time, a lot of time, by not explaining stuff. Um, so this is something. This is us bringing ourselves into balance, and also us bringing the futuristic parts of ourselves. Even though she is Libra, she's feeling like an Aquarius today. Um, it's us having a vision and a sight of a future and coming up with a plan. But this is more so an internal plan. This is us coming into alignment with who we are. Like I said yesterday, like you never quite reach your best self, but you can reach a better self. And so this is her knowing and understanding, okay, I need to become my better self in order to do that. And again, that's sort of reflecting that Emperor crossed by the Knight of Wands energy. I mean, this is sort of the root cause, right? What's causing all of this to happen? It's because we need to be more grounded, centered, balanced within ourselves, and we need to have lines of communication open. In the past space, we have the Two of Wands, which speaks to beginnings and it speaks to cross. I mean, in this deck, I don't see it as crossroads at all. In this deck, it's like to me, it's pure beginning, right? That other wand is behind him. His vision is forward. He has wand in hand, and he's ready to move. Both of the wands, both of the staves are blossoming. So it's like you're leaving one fruitful thing for something that may be a little more fruitful because the other one looks a little taller to me. You see, like you got that much green with flowers, and then you got a little bit more green and flowers over here. And it's not to say that, what you're leaving behind isn't. Because every time I see the Five of Swords lately, I'm feeling it as like you could be victorious either way, but there's one path that is more fruitful than the other. And so this is about choosing the more fruitful path, which is all about choosing to take the step forward. This is sitting cleanly under the Queen of Pentacles and under that exploration card, right? So this is all about bravely moving forward into the unknown with your own light. And whenever you're like the hermit, right? Whenever you're in the dark with a light, you move as fast as you move. Because the lamp, the lantern, the light that you have, it's always going to give you the same amount of clarity and clearness and vision because it's not like, unless it dies, then it shrinks, right? But it's like if you have your lantern up, it's always going to project out the same distance. And so how fast you move is depending on how fast you move, right? It's not like I'm going to sit here with my lantern and wait for the sun to come up and then I'll do this whole race in like 3 seconds. It's like that's not what the energy of the hermit is about, right? That would be the tortoise going to sleep at the beginning of the race and expecting to beat the hare that's already faster than the tortoise. Like that's like the tortoise and the hare, but instead of the hare falling asleep in front of the finish line, it's the tortoise that falls asleep, and then you're just like, what? What? You know that like that's not how the story goes, right? And then the sleeping tortoise is like, we write our own stories, and then they just lose the race and they're out of it. They turn into Rip Van Winkle. They wake up 40 years later, and everything's changed. And they're like, what? What? Where did the hare go? I'm still in the race, baby. I'm still in the race. Back to sleep. Okay. But yeah, I think this in the past, it's like maybe we've encountered these situations that may have been a little bit brand new, that may have frightened us, intimidated us, scared us. Maybe we came across a blockage or a boundary or a barrier because with that dead end card a few days ago, um, it's speaking to spaces that we weren't yet supposed to fully explore. But it's like you get a taste of it. It's like you get enough of it to understand what it is that you're going for. You get enough of it. It's like it's supposed to motivate you to do the rest, right? That's like whenever somebody's like, hey, I need you to go on this job, you'll get paid a third of it now, a third of it later, and then you'll get the last third when you complete the job. Or we'll do half now, half later, right? The half now that you get is supposed to give you enough fire, it's supposed to give you enough payment to acquire resources. It's to compensate you for your time because it is actually a payment, and it's supposed to motivate you to actually finish to claim the rest. But I mean, some people may just be like, hey, you already gave me half of the money up front. I could just cut my losses and go do this again somewhere else. And it's like, we gave you half of the money so you would be motivated to finish it. I feel like it's very much that energy where it's like you got a taste of what is to come. You were granted a piece of the vision so that when you take it home, it becomes the star in the sky that you shoot for. Uh, and the ultimate and the goal, right? We saw the root cause. The root cause was get you to come to this space of integrating and evaluating and critiquing and analyzing yourself. Well, I guess first you critique and analyze yourself, then you integrate with the shadow, and then you open up lines of communication between all parts of you so that you can move forward as a more united front, right? You can move forward casting off less pieces of yourself that you're probably going to need to help you move forward because, it's at the very least, you need them to stop getting you to self sabotage, right? On a grander scale, it's like these are parts of yourself that you can leverage and manage to improve your way of going about things, your quality of life, your standard of living, whatever, right? It improves something. I don't know. But in the ultimate goal, we have this Empress, right? And the Empress is all about, well, she's like all about giving birth. She's all about manifestation, which is all about giving birth. She's all about creating, which is all about giving birth, and all about manifestation, right? She holds the ability to breathe life into any situation. She's a very, she's like the life side of the death card. What is death? 13, which is a 4. Yeah. So I guess it would be like Death and the Emperor would be more equivalent, and then the Hangman and the Empress would be more equivalent. But the Empress is married to the Emperor, right? They're together. I mean, they don't have to be together. They could be from different empires, and you can have an Empress going to war against an Emperor in another empire, but or they could just be friends, but in different empires. But I got a feeling like they're together, and that's the role she plays. She plays the role of life as married to this death energy, and together they complete cycles of rebirth and transformation, right? Because it's like the death card is the decay, it's the falling apart. Maybe the Emperor, well, no, take that back. But it's like once it decays, when it comes into that rebirth cycle, then that's when it comes into the Empress's domain, right? Because it greens again. If we're talking about a plant, right? It greens. That's her domain. Like, look at her, she's green. Everything green. Yeah, I got to make sure I picked up the right card. Everything green. Also, the heart is important, so that's why you're doing all of this um, self love. It's also self love, right? But that's kind of sort of related to the root cause in a way that I didn't explicitly say, but self love is along the path of full self integration and acceptance. And then in the future, we have this Ten of Cups. And the Ten of Cups is the union between your energy to plan for something, to create a structure, and then to come in and breathe life into it, right? This is turning somebody, or supposed to be turning us into like one person powerhouses, right? Because we're supposed to have this emperor empress union within ourselves, where, and we all have divine masculine and feminine energy, we all have a creative side, and we all have, some of us are more creative than others, some of us can plan for the future and are a little more structured and organized than others, right? But it's about having both. I almost did it again. I keep trying to drown myself in this tea. I need to not drink so much at once. Yeah, so and the space of us and the you space is the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is all about options. The Seven of Cups is all about distractions. I feel like in this retrograde season, it's possible for many, many, many distractions that look very enticing with Venus retrograde coming up, or at least semi enticing, or it's like, you know what, with Pluto being in retrograde and Saturn being in retrograde, it's like, you know, we've been locked up, quarantined. I'm lonely enough that in ordinary circumstances, I wouldn't even give this a second thought. But now I'm kind of curious. Now I'm kind of sort of like, is this? And I'm like, okay. I mean, just because we all locked up, don't mean our standards got to plummet. I mean, it's not only that. Let me remove the judgment. I'm nice. Be less judgmental. Okay. We're manifesting distractions in many areas. Some of these distractions may be things that we don't want. Some of these distractions may look really good, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's like they take us off of a course, they take us off of a path. And the way to tell the difference, I don't know, because all seven of them cups look real. And again, it's like you can have victory any which way you do this. So, but there's one path that's better than another. The external influence is this death card, which is the transformation. I'm going to read all three of these together. So external influence is death card. Internal influence is karma. And the hopes slash fears is this choice, right? With the lovers. I love that this didn't go a love route. Thank you. Me for being like, I don't want to tell this story again. It's been so prevalent the past few days, and I'm not trying to push that. And so then it was just like, read it in a different way. I was like, what? It's that simple? Yeah, it's that simple. Sometimes you just got to change your perspective. And when you change your perspective, it's like you're looking at the same thing just from a different angle. So it doesn't make it any less true. That thing isn't any less that thing, but from a different angle, you get a different point of entry, you get a different route, right? If you go through a city from the east and you try to navigate somewhere, it may be different than if you enter the city from the west and try to navigate to the same place, or the north and the south, right? It's like ultimately the destination may be the same, but depending on the way you come at it, your path is going to be different. So it's still everything that it was before. We're just telling it from a different side. I'm just telling it from a different side. But this brings to mind what I was saying about when we get too comfortable in places. It's like sometimes our lives start to fall apart. Sometimes it's like we start getting in arguments with everybody. You know, we love our jobs, and then all of a sudden we're getting in a fight with the boss. We're getting in a fight with the coworker. Stuff like that is happening. With this death card and the external, I feel like this is our environments ejecting us. It's like things are falling apart in your environment to get you to move out of that environment. It doesn't have to be the fact that like the job is bad, the boss is bad, the coworkers are bad, the people in your environment are bad. It's just like things conspiring to get you to actually begin to move, right? Because this emperor is blocked by that Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands blocking the emperor, to me, speaks to a lack of motivation, a lack of drive, a lack of passion. And you need to see something through. You need to come up with a plan. You need to get the ball rolling. And then once you do all of the underlying things, you need to keep the ball rolling with that Empress energy, right? It's like give the universe something to latch onto. You're asking for help, but you're not even sticking out your hand so somebody can come and grab it and pull you out of the spot that you're in, right? Like they can drop a rope, but you got to grab the rope. They can drop the ladder, but you got to grab the ladder. They can send a man down to be like, here, take my hand. But if you don't take his hand, you ain't going nowhere, right? I don't know if at this point in time, I don't know if we're too much like Prince Charming girls or damsels in distress. You can be a dude and be a damsel. Dudes and damsels in distress, if that's better. Dudes, damsels, and non-binary folks in distress, if that's even better. Um, and I don't think anyone is gonna like sweep you up off of your feet and pull you out of the situation right now. Because with the emperor and the empress, that speaks to like this is something that you need to do. Right? That's us coming into our own. But it's like maybe your environment is ejecting you. Maybe you're seeing things or experiencing things in your environment that is coming in a way that is motivating you to do something to get out of that environment. And then internally, we have this karma. Karma is the judgment card, and this the judgment side of karma to me is speaking more to what we perceive ourselves as capable of and what we think we're worthy of. Because the Queen of Pentacles is the overall sort of like energy at the bottom of the deck, right? So that she's getting us to see our worth, getting us to be caring and kind and compassionate, but also putting us in a space to act out of that, right? Like queens actually do stuff. They don't just sit on the throne and look pretty while the king does everything. It's like, no, the queen does stuff too. And it's time for you to do things that align with that self worth, that align with compassion, and that align with everything else that the Queen of Pentacles stands for. She's the most lush, verdant, green, abundant queen, right? But it's like she is that because she's the caring, nurturing, she's the heart of the Empress that manifests everything. The Queen of Cups would be the like the spirit or the soul of the Empress, like her ability to connect with other people, to empathize with other people, and also to connect with spirit. Any like intuitive ability, spiritual ability she has, that would come from the Queen of Cups, right? The Queen of Swords would be more so her mind and her ability to play the Emperor when she has to, right? To Emperor the Emperor if she has to. um, and that speaks to her ability to process, analyze, and to perceive and see truth, and to also speak it. And then the Queen of Wands would be her aura, her vibe, her confidence, her ability to be unshaken, and her ability to go forth in the world next to an emperor and to be at his side and not behind him. She is not his shadow. And so the Queen of Wands is her ability where even though the world would say, oh, you're just the Empress, like the Emperor is the one that has the real power, the Queen of Wands is her ability, and the Queen of Swords, in a way. They play together for her to be like, excuse me? You want to try saying that again? Like into my face. I see you tweeting about me. I see y'all posting up these little flyers talking about how the Empress ain't ish. How is she even an Empress? Where does she even come from? We wanted our Emperor to be with this girl or this princess. Who is she? And she's like, if you want to see who I am, I can prove it to you. But you may just want to trust me on this one. I don't know. I'm sorry. I like to put a little sass on the Empress and the Queen sometimes. I like to put a little sass on everything sometimes because we all got little sassy sides. If you push anybody, they'll bite back. Some people just stay back into the corner and cry. So maybe not anybody, but Anyway, so I feel like this karma is related to someone's ability to see it for themselves, right? And then talking about, or that was the judgment side of it. It's self judgment, self criticizing. It could work either way. That could either be judgment in your favor when it comes to these situations, like, you know what, I'm better than this. It's time for me to strap up my boots and to do what these boots were made to do. Get to walking, get to stepping, get to moving, get to grooving, get to vibing. Um, I'm sorry. I just lost my train of thought. But the karma side of this is also her. It's the karma. It's like, is that cycle of my life over? Or am I going to keep myself from running these cycles? Right. And that's the internal choice. It's funny that transformation and death came out in the external position and karma came out and it was just 5555. I saw it. I looked down and it was like 5555. I was like, oh snap. Um, what time is it? It's 12:35, which means it's 11:35 my time. Which means this is perfect. I can still get to work. I love doing this earlier and get my foot sucking in at the same time. Um, so it's interesting that the death card came out external and the karma card came out internal, because usually you would think that they're the same or reversed, right? You think that karma is the external force that you're subjected to. You already do whatever. And then you would think death is the internal transformation, but it's like, no, the external, the outside is trying to transform, whether you're in alignment with that transformation or not, whether you keep yourself in a place where that transformation is limited and blocked. And then the inside is this karma. The inside being karma is that self worth, self judgment, self evaluation, self realization. And it's like the outside can change all day long, but are you actually going to accept it? And then in the space of the hopes and fears, we have the lovers. This could be someone who actually fears love, or you could hope for love or feel love. I'm going to say love can be love this time. But if love is love, you think you're worthy of accepting it. And what kind of love are you going for? Are you going for love that's in those old karmic cycles type of love? And that preventing the transformation that's trying to occur in your life type of love? And Venus is retrograde, Pluto is retrograde, Saturn is retrograde, Jupiter is retrograde. Venus being retrograde, it doesn't have to be, but a lot of retrogrades, it's a revisiting and it's a dispensal of karma at the same time, right? So if you've done good things, then the retrograde could bring you good karma. It can actually push you forward, right? It's like while everyone else is stepped back. And this visual came to my mind earlier today or last night for some reason. And maybe it was like a shout out to Charms, but not really. But it was like, it's like freeze everything, slow everything down, and whatever is moving still, when everything else is slow, whatever is moving is out of place. Now, is it out of place in a good way or is it out of place in a bad way? Right? Because if you catch somebody quick enough, it's like they won't have enough time to realize that everything else is stopped and they're the only one still moving. That's the energy of like somebody pretending. Now, again, are they pretending in a good way or are they pretending in a bad way? Right? It could be an angel in disguise or it could be something else in disguise. And then the angel's like, oh, wow, like you found me out. Like, yeah, I'm the one who's been trying to make things go right in your life. Every time you get a little down in the dumps, and then I come along and I offer you, a little bit of hope, a little bit of opportunity, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Or it could be somebody else that is like not supposed to be there. And it's not a somebody, it's like a something. It could be a state of mind at the same time, right? Let's say like you find peace. And as soon as you find peace, like the first thought that comes to your mind, now, is that a thought that you want to carry forward and you want to progress with? Or is this a thought that needs to be like addressed? Like either way, you got to follow the thought to see where it leads. Um, can't remember where I was going with that. But like you could be afraid of this love. You could continue to manifest and prevent that transformation and go for old love, or you can go for new love. Excuse me. There are two you got like this is three majors in the space of hopes and fears, the environment and like internal environment, external environment. So This is a lot of different factors and influences. Oh, I was talking about the retrogrades. Um, with Venus retrograde, that could be related to past relationships and love. With Saturn retrograde, it could be related to karma and karmic cycles. With Jupiter retrograde, it speaks to good fortune and opportunity. And then Pluto retrograde speaks to like deep, or Pluto, I guess, speaks to deep transformations and also wealth in a way, um, because Pluto rules wealth. Um, that's why I like Scorpio, people's money. So it could be money that you don't necessarily have to work for, right? That could be you striking gold in your backyard. That could be you winning the lottery. It could be you doing all kinds of things, right? Because Pluto rules wealth. Um, and so it's like there's opportunity or there's not a lot of opportunity for things to go wrong. But that's why this Queen of Pentacles is the overall energy. I feel like right now you need to be self assured in who you are and what you're worth. Um, Now, if this isn't about love, this could just be you in a space to make a decision that has the opportunity and the ability to change the course of your life. And I've been saying it so many times. If you're making decisions based off of fear and worry and anxiety, you're probably going to miss it. Like, if that hasn't been a part of your healing in some way, pretend like it was and make a decision that'll get you to go where you want to be and then heal along the way, right? Because sometimes we can go through changes from an outside in perspective, right? Sometimes we're placed in an environment where things are really good. And then we notice that maybe we don't feel worthy of that environment, or we notice that we're bringing drama and we're creating stuff in the environment that isn't there. And that's an opportunity for us to reflect in that environment and then use that environment to raise and elevate us, right? That's like just like if you come across, I don't know, somebody wise or somebody kind and they teach you how to be wise or they teach you how to be kind. It's sort of like the same feeling, right? You can do it as you go if you're good. Some people aren't and they don't, but you can. It's possible. Trust me. It's possible. Do it as you go along. I guess a caveat would be it requires a little bit more faith and a little bit more trust in the universe, or a lot of it more. But anyway, um, and then it's also like, again, it's that how you judge yourself, how you evaluate yourself, and what you allow yourself to walk out of, and what you allow yourself to stay in. The Queen of Pentacles is going to be your key to progressing through all of this, right? Let's say that you're this emperor who is being crossed by, I'm going to just push all of these over here because I'm going to get one more quartz. Let's say you're this emperor being crossed by this Knight of Wands, where there are things that you know you need to do, but you're not doing it. With that Queen of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck overall, that could be like, okay, I understand that you don't want to do this, but are you not someone who is worth this? Right? Like, are you not worth doing something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to be? Like, especially if that's something that you would do for somebody that you care about, then like, why wouldn't you do it for yourself? Are you not worth like fighting for to you? Are you not worth going through the darkness for to you? Like, the Queen of Pentacles is here to offer you help in every single area, in every single way, because I mean, it's all about the self. That's where everything stems from, the self. Top of the deck is this Queen of Cups. And it's funny because in the entry, I was like, we're the Queen of Pentacles, not the Queen of Cups. Take your sob story somewhere else. Like, we love about you. We love about you. We care about you. We love you. We're compassionate. We can understand, but we can't do it for you. If you want somebody to come in and run themselves ragged trying to do it for you, because can't nobody do it for you. But if you want somebody to try, go to the Queen of Cups. If you ain't ready to level up and move on, I can't help you, because that's like, there isn't really anyone capable of doing that. Oh my gosh, a card just fell on the floor and I am praying. Crown Portal. I am praying that this card did not fall into this tub of water I have my feet in right now. Because if it did, I may cry. Oh, it didn't. Whew, thank goodness. Ah, what is this? Is this a new card? Oh no, we saw this like yesterday, didn't we? No, that wasn't yesterday. Emergence. Okay, there we go. Emergence. I've gotten this recently, like a few days ago recently. It's titled Emergence, that video. Uh, what was the other card? Here it is. I was like, where was it? Bottom of the deck is that Crown Portal. We have Emergence and Wisdom. Emergence and Wisdom came out. This is insane. But Wisdom came out yesterday, I believe. Wisdom is number 44. Emergence is number 11. We got two master numbers, 11 and 44, which is interesting. Wisdom is psychic, intuition, and truth. Emergence is creation, resurrection, and magician. Is this clarifying that, or are we going somewhere else? You'll see. Okay, we'll see. You'll see. We'll see. I'll see you at the club. I'm wearing one of my favorite shirts. It says Brothers Bar. It's from a bar on campus called Brothers. They used to give out free shirts on Thursdays. Where did my neck go? Let me stop. Oh. Oh, has my neck slimmed down? I'm sorry. I just looked at my neck like I think it used to be thicker than that. Anyway, what my friend texted me the other day, my second favorite bar on campus closed down. My first favorite bar on campus closed down when I was still there because they're going to be doing construction. And they're like, we're not going to survive the construction. But that place remained open. They didn't even do the construction. So it's like, why y'all closed down for? But they may have been getting less traffic too. Uh, it has. Yeah, I'm like, what is happening? Who am I? I just go with it. Um, but yeah, my second favorite bar closed down, and my friend was like, "I guess your $50 tips didn't help him out." I was like, "It closed because I'm not there to tip." Okay. Uh, if I'm being real honest, like I enjoy drinking. I don't get drunk, and I don't like enjoy getting messy. I don't get all like, not calling anybody drunk or messy, but like I enjoy like a few drinks. Like give me a shot of Jim Beam, give me a shot of rum chata, give me a shot of what is it? Rumplemans, because I love mint. The first time I had Rumplemans, I was in love. I was like, this is the most intense mint experience I've had in my life. Every other time I've had Rumplemans, it wasn't as good as the first shot. I'm like, oh. Tequila. I love tequila. Tequila and Jim Beam are my two favorites. I didn't start drinking until I was nearly 22. It was the week of my 22nd birthday. So it was a few days before I turned 22. I was with my friend, my Sagittarian friend. She's a, I ain't trying to put her out there, but she's a hard drinker. And my first drinks were with a hard drinker. So some of my alcoholic preferences tend to a little bit harder drinks, but I don't drink a lot of them. I don't get like messed up, but I do like acting like I'm drunk, and I like acting like I'm like silly and goofy because I have an excuse. You have a wild theory to tell me after the live. Okay, I'm excited. What's going on? But yeah, like I don't drink a lot. Like I do drink a lot, but it's all in one city, and I'm a big dude, so and I got like I guess a strong liver runs in my family. So I mean, it would because that's another reason why I didn't want to get into drinking though. That's one reason why I waited so late to drink. And so late. I mean, I was almost 22, but on my 21st birthday, the reason why I didn't go right out is because, like, I guess I'm putting my tea out there. I'm drinking tea, put my tea. This is my story. Alcoholism is kind of sort of a thing in my family, especially on one side of my family. And I didn't want to be another alcoholic. And so that's why I was like, I don't even know if I want to try it. I don't even know if I want to risk it because like it already runs in my family. That's one of the generational curses that we have. And so like, oh, I don't even know if I want to risk it. You get tipsy off of coolers. Girl, I wish I was a lightweight. That's why I spend so much money. And then low key, I'd be spending too much money to not be like feeling this more than I'm feeling this. Like, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. And then I went with my one friend. Now he's a dude, but she is a gender neutral pronoun for me sometimes. If y'all haven't picked it up, um, even though it's very gendered, she is a gender neutral pronoun for me. So they opened up like a restaurant type place in his apartment on the ground floor. And so when they had their soft opening, everything was free, including the drinks. We were like, what? But we went there one day and he was supposed to take me home. And we went to the bar to get like one drink. But he's the type of person that once he starts drinking, he can't stop. And I'm the type of person that, like, you know, if I want a drink, I want like a drink, like one drink, maybe two, potentially three, if we're having a good time. But I'm not trying to get drunk. And he is very much that person. He was like, "Why would we drink if we're not going to get drunk?" And he kept getting drinks. And I told the girl he was cut off. I told her he was cut off, and she didn't know what to do. But ultimately, at the day, it was his tab and his money. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just walk home. Thankfully, I could walk home, but I'm like, I'm not about to sit here, let you pound all these drinks, and then trust you with my life. First of all, you shouldn't be on the road regardless, but to trust you with my life, I'm like, no, I'll walk home. And I was mad. I was mad, and I walked home. And he was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, come back. I'll give you a ride. I was like, no, see you over there playing games, and what I'm not about to play games with is my life. So, no, I was mad. And then after that, we found out that we just don't drink together, even though we had in the past. It's like we're incompatible drinkers. Like, I'm just trying to have one or two to say I'm drunk without being actually drunk. You trying to black out like every single time, and I'm like, what are you masking? Why do you drink so much? Like, what's the state of your internal life that you feel the need to do this? And of course, dude, I mean, everybody has issues, but I'm like, that's one thing I'm not gonna do is turn to a substance. Like, I turned to video games. I had a World of Warcraft addiction at multiple points in my life. I'll admit. If I had more money, I'd probably have a shopping addiction. Honestly, you would see me just come home with like, yeah, I got a new TV, a new computer, a new phone, and I was really going through it, so I got all new appliances too. And you're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm great. Like, look at my new stuff. Why would I not be? And it's like, okay. But last year and the beginning of the year, a lot of my spending habits changed because of, wow, maybe I should just get on and talk about my journey in my life someday. Just like straight up vlog. This is the dump session. And I guess I have one more day of mega reads and 2 more days of foot soaking to do. So maybe I will just come on and ramble about myself. I've done it before, but when things got really hard financially, and I was literally starving in my room, didn't know how I was going to pay my rent. Thankfully, my family stepped up, and I think I read about it a little bit, and that's what got me to rely on my family a lot more and to deepen those relationships again. Uh, but yeah, when I was sitting in my room, literally starving, not knowing how I'm going to pay rent, looking at this $1,300 laptop, that $1,300 Surface Book, my 13 plus $100 gaming desktop, my TV, my like, I got my iPhone 10, pre-ordered it, and I didn't get the base model, so that was another like $1,200. And I'm like, I'm looking at all this stuff that I can't eat, and I'm starving. I'm not like starving, but I'm hungry. I had ramen noodles in the cupboard, and then my roommate. ate my good ramen noodles. I'm like, bruh, you the one that actually has a job right now. He would drink his money away and then go hungry. I'm like, that don't make sense to me. That don't make sense to me. But I don't judge. But when you starting to eat my food, and my food is ramen noodles, and that's all I got in the cupboards, and like every time you get paid, you go and drink. Like, nah. Anyway, but I'm looking at all this stuff with a nearly empty belly, and I'm like, this does nothing for me. And then I got closer to my family. I detached myself from stuff. I stopped. And that also came at a point in my life when I was addressing a lot of the issues that were going on with me behind the scenes. And so I also wasn't using stuff to fill those kind of sort of voids anymore. I don't know if I've ever necessarily like straight up filled a void with stuff, but I could see myself doing it. I feel I use video games to cope and to escape for sure. Excuse me, but when I reached the point where my eyes got bad enough that I couldn't comfortably play the video games, and when the video games that I was waiting literally years for started to come out, and I was like, I wouldn't even be able to see well enough to enjoy this game. Like that's when I had to start addressing everything that I left unaddressed. And all of that came like right after my Dark Knight. Right. My Dark Knight came before that. And then all of that stuff started happening. And it could have been this series of worse and worse and worse and darker and darker and darker Dark Knights. But I was in the space to address everything coming my way. And so instead of cowering from it and allowing it to shake me and rock me and throw me even deeper into the darkness, I was like, this is something that I need to address. And since I stopped distracting myself and since I stopped trying to fill a void with other substances, I was able to really sit back and look at how I consume, right? How I consume everything. Because even like getting stuff, buying stuff is a way of that's a method of consumption, right? You're spending money to get stuff, feeling some kind of appetite, it's consumption. And I looked at how I consume my time, how I consume my money, how I consume everything. And I'm just like, this is all distractions, and I got stuff I need to address. At that point in time, I thought I was addressing everything because I took a spring semester off. I had my last semester of college in the fall, and I was like, I want to address everything so I don't self sabotage myself like I did last fall. And I thought that's why I was doing it, right? At that point, and now I'm realizing that yes, that was it, but now it goes beyond just what I initially thought it was. Um, it goes way beyond what I initially thought or expected or suspected. Did not see all this happening. Um, but yeah, that was the reason why I started doing it. Why am I talking about this? Oh, because I was talking about drinking. Like, I like to drink. I love tequila. I love Jim Beam. My favorite is Jim Beam Apple. People talk about Jim Beam Honey. Jim Beam Honey is my least favorite. I'd rather have original low key. I'm not on here promoting alcohol. If you are not of age, don't try to front and perpetrate like you are. If you ain't supposed to be drinking, don't be drinking. Even if you are of age, sometimes y'all don't need to be drinking either. But yeah, I was super concerned that it's a slippery slope because alcoholism runs in my family. But for me, it's not an issue. So let's continue. Sorry for that random break. Right, just me talking about me. Let's get on to this forgiveness and wisdom. No, emergence and wisdom. Oh, I love those cards, emergence and wisdom. But yeah, Miyoshi, I wish I could get tipsy off of a cooler because then I could save a lot of money. That's part of the reason why I spend a lot of money. And then we went to this restaurant one day, me and a bunch of coworkers a few summers ago. We had just gotten paid, and my dumb butt is like, I want some tequila. Well, this is how I operate. This I don't know if this is the tourist in my chart or what, but I've talked about it on my channel before. Uh, Ooh, the star with that Queen of Pentacles. There you go. Star with that Queen of Pentacles. Uh, but I'm the type of person like, if I want to do something with someone, I'll pay for it because I want to have that experience. And I'm not the type of person that's like, hey, I want to do this with you really bad and I'm going to make you pay for it, especially if that other person doesn't necessarily want it. It's like, I'll pay for it and we'll go together. Um, so, yeah, we were in this restaurant one day. I was opening up. I wasn't using alcohol to open up because, again, it doesn't too much affect me like immediately. Like, if there's like a few things that my body just is pretty much unfazed by, it's caffeine and melatonin, apparently. Caffeine, energy drinks of any kind, and alcohol don't like really phase me too much. And I guess if caffeine doesn't phase me too much, then it would make sense that alcohol doesn't either. Because like caffeine is a stimulant, alcohol is a depressant. I don't know if they trigger the same. I don't know if they biologically affect the system the same, but like one slows it down and another speeds it up. Probably not. They're probably very different or different on some levels, but it doesn't really affect me too much. Like the most drunk I've ever been is like kind of tipsy, and that was the first time. Oh, at my favorite bar on Thursdays, they would have fish bowls, and so you get a whole fish bowl of drink. And the first time I went and did that, I stood up and I was like, oof, oh my gosh. And I was like, even sitting there, I was like doing this because I felt like I was moving in slow motion. But once I stood up and started walking, at first I was a little, like a little tipsy. But as soon as I get out the door, it's like I have my equilibrium and I'm fine. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should have drunk more. And I'm like, no, because I'm not trying to be a mess. It's fine. Anyway, again, not to judge anybody who does partake, but I'm just talking about who I am and how I am for whatever reason. This is a venting few days for me. It's like all the planets go retrograde and I'm in here venting and dumping. Who knows? We're getting rid of those catches, girls. Um, but yeah, I wish like I could get tipsy off a cooler. All right. No. Ooh. Oh, Hangman, the Sun, and the Queen of Cups. Okay, we'll take these. All right, Miyoshi. The Hangman, the Sun, and the Queen of Cups. The Sun is facing that Hangman though, and the Queen of Cups, like the Sun and the Queen of Cups, are looking in two completely different directions. It's like this Queen of Cups is sipping her tea. Like I'm not even. Wait, hold up. The Sun is facing the Queen of Cups. Why did I think that the Sun was facing that Hangman and they were looking in two different directions? They're facing the same direction. And when I put them on the table, they're both looking at that Emperor Empress thing, right? But anyway, so with Emergence and Wisdom, with the Hangman, bottom of the deck is this Queen of Pentacles still. Uh, but with the Hangman is all about taking a moment of pause and taking a moment of reflection to go deeper, to understand deeper, and then to acquire a sacred knowledge, right? The Hermit energy is more of like going into your own darkness and like it's like all of that shadow work, shadow integration, healing past traumas and stuff like that. That's more the realm of the Hermit. But the realm of the Hangman is more like going inside and tapping into those sacred truths, right? And creating this environment internally that then leads to the just like looking at a situation a different way and getting a different perspective, right? And from that deeper perspective that you get, because the Hangman is also perceptive, um, it's a inside outside energy, right? That's why people call it stuck, because on the outside it looks like it's not moving. It looks like a hermit from the outside, but it's different because the hermit is inside, focused on the inside, on top of the inside, and the outlaw, the Hangman, is on the inside, looking at the outside and running all of the calculations and reconciling the differences between them, right? So anyway, the Hangman is a lot more outward focused than the Hermit. That's how I'm feeling it. And with the Sun card here, it's about expressing all of these truths, all of this hidden wisdom and knowledge. The hangman is also Neptunian energy, which is Piscean energy, because Pisces is the only planet ruled by Neptune. That was a weak AF tongue pop. It's also traditionally water energy, I believe. So that's just the intuitive energy anyway, right? But with that sun card, it's all about bringing all of that, bringing that trove of knowledge to the surface, bringing it to the light. It's about expressing it. It's about talking about it. It's like, okay, I've sat back for a while and I've observed the way that people work and the way that the world works, right? Because that's the hangman is like, I'm sitting back and observing everything. The hermit is like, I'm sitting back and I'm going inside and I'm introspective, right? That's a difference, at least how I'm feeling them now, right? Because if they were the same thing, then there would be like one major instead of two. Anyway, I mean, what you go from the hermit to the wheel of fortune to justice to then that hangman. So it's like with the hermit, you do all of this stuff on the inside, you fix stuff on the inside, and then you move on to the next card, which is the Wheel of Fortune. Things begin to turn. You move on to the next card, which is Justice. That's things turning in the way reflective to whatever that hangman was doing and bringing the external and the internal into balance. The Hermit. Did I say the hangman? That everything the hermit was doing and bringing the internal and external into balance. But like to get that movement, the hermit has to go through the wheel of fortune. But the hangman can kind of sort of do it all at once, right? But since the hangman is more active, it leads directly to that transformation, right? It doesn't then go into another wheel where we're making more things happen. Then it goes into another justice where it's realigned. Like the hangman kind of sort of encompasses that hermit, Wheel of Fortune, Justice energy all in one. Did I say hangman or hermit? I don't know what I'm saying. It encompasses that hermit, Wheel of Fortune, Justice energy all in one. And it's this continual process, right? And then as the hangman is processing and moving, hopefully, right? I mean, sometimes you observe and process more than you move, and that's when he's stuck. But then that leads directly to these transformations. It leads directly to a completely like the death shift is so much bigger than the Wheel of Fortune justice shift. Like that's a complete upheaval, reversal, rebirth, right? That's the level of insight that the hangman is privy to, rather than just like, oh, here's a Wheel of Fortune, and then here's the justice card with that coming off of that hermit. It's like coming off the hangman, it's death. That's complete transformation. That's like Pisces and Scorpio instead of like Virgo into Sagittarius into Libra, right? And then you're like, well, where is the Scorpio? Because you done skipped over Scorpio. You go from Virgo to Sag to Libra, and then I guess after the hangman, then you get to that Scorpio. It's like, well, you got to jump all the way over to Neptune before you can come back to Pluto. Well, I guess it makes sense. Planetarily, it makes sense, right? You got to go through Neptune before you can get to Pluto. But anyway, I don't know why I'm going on and on and on about this hangman. I'm just telling y'all, I'm passionate. The hangman has been one of my favorite cards since I started. Like the moon and the hangman. Like first, the moon was my favorite because I saw it all the time. When I first started, I saw the moon and the magician like all the time. I think I even wrote about it. Oh, I did. I made a post about it. Let's see if I can find it. And I tried to like hashtag them up so I would be able to find them later too. I was like, these are the cards I'm seeing right now in my life. And I did it to see if they would like change. But let's see if they did. Oh, I got dreams on here, girl. I'm dumping everything. Maybe that's the hangman into the sun. Make it seen, make it plain. Tarot Things Part 2. I got a second deck. What day was this? I wish I could see what day this was. I'm looking for. Ah! Ain't Ain't nobody like this. Ain't nobody like this. And this post was gold. I'm gonna show it to y'all real quick. I'm gonna try to cut out my Tumblr name because I don't need y'all going to look me up on Tumblr. But y'all see this? Okay, I'll read it and then I'll show y'all the gifs. Okay. So I opened up by saying like me going to seek guidance or a message. So I was like me going to seek guidance with this gif, right? And then I put the library is open, right? And then I put the cards. I feel like if you don't watch Drag Race, or if you're not, I guess you don't have to watch Drag Race to know what getting red is. But like me going to seek a message, all hopeful. This was especially early on when the cards would make me cry like all the time. But that's what I wanted because I wanted such deep transformation because I knew that I had to go through a complete rebirth if I was going to be functional because I wasn't at all. Um, like I got so close to graduation and then everything fell apart. I'm like, I'm not going to allow this to happen again. And I knew exactly why it happened. And a lot of those fears and worries and anxieties I don't have anymore. So healing is possible, y'all. A lot of them. Um, but anyway, it's like me going to get a message. The library is open and the cards are about to read me. And then I'm like, wait, am I reading the cards or are the cards reading me? Who is reading who right now? But anyway, I thought it was funny. I thought, well, it was clever. Let's see, is it this one? Boo, boo, boo. Quick side note, I've been consistently. What? Yes, okay. Anyway, I didn't talk about it. And I'm not going to read through that anymore. But the Hangman is one of my favorite cards. I've always resonated with the Hangman on a level that is far beyond stuck for me. Y'all will hear me talk about how the Hangman ain't just stuck energy all day. But it can be. It ain't just that. I can see how it looks that way on the outside. But anyway, um, but this is all about bringing, and it's interesting. Oops, I'll just threw this whole deck on the floor. I mean, I guess the death card is already on the table, so it can't come back out. But it's interesting that the sun card comes out after this hangman instead of the death, right? It's like this is someone who's been in preparation of that new dawn, who's gone through this awakening beforehand, and then boom, it's like, okay, the sun is out. It's time to go. And he's been reborn as this child, now free to roam about the cabin because his time of suspension is over. It's like it's the hangman's time to awaken and to begin working that magic, tossing out light all over the place. And then we come into this Queen of Cups after this Sun card. Right. The Queen of Cups is Cancerian energy. But regardless, she's also like intuitive, right? And so where was I going with that? I feel like that's a call to rely on the things that have gotten you this far. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, whatever stability and whatever you establish for yourself, it's like rely on that, use that, be guided by that, because that's what's going to keep you moving. Right. And this is wisdom and emergence, the emergence of wisdom. The hangman into the sun, that's wisdom and emergence right there all day long. That's it. I don't need anything else, but I'm going to see if anything else comes out. I'll give you 5 more. Oops. Oh, I almost saw something. 2 more. 1 more. Nope, nothing came out. Bottom of the deck is this tower. And we're going to put all of this back. I ain't doing no thumbnail today because I don't feel like it. I'm going to put all this mess back. What am I doing now? What am I doing now? I can pull a card from the Wisdom of Lord Ganesha to see if Lord Ganesha has anything to say today. Lord Ganesha, let's see if you have anything to add. Ooh, Knight of Lovers. Knight of Lovers, Knight of Cups, and the Lovers at the cut. Hey. Oops, that did not shuffle. Man, that dream last night. It was intense in a way that wasn't intense, but it was so intense. Two of Swords and the Lovers. These are not shuffling. Y'all got more talking to do? Seven of Swords and the Two of Swords. There we go. Okay. Bottom of the deck now is the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords has been popping up at the cut a lot. It hasn't come out, but it keeps showing itself. And it's funny because I just had the Seven of Swords and the Two of Swords, and now the Nine of Swords is like, yeah. And I was going to say that, like, us being in a state of indecision. What's at the top of the deck? Top of the deck is the Two of Cups. Okay. I was going to say, well, exactly that. Right? Us being in that state of indecision is what is stealing our opportunity from us. Us not moving, us doing this wishy-washy back and forth mental thing is what's continuing to manifest delays. And at the end of the day, it's like, you can rack your brain all day long about how and why whatever isn't working for you. Sometimes some of it is divine timing. Um, Sometimes some of it is you needing to know something before things really start to take off. Sometimes it's just about periods and cycles, right? You have a cycle of growth and then you have a cycle of harvest. But it's like from here on, or a large part of that is like it's not necessarily other people taking what you're supposed to have for you. It's just like you not going for it. Bottom of the deck is oneness. No, it ain't oneness. Manifestation. Exactly what I was talking about. 29, manifestation. And the card that came out is Majestic Eminence, number 27. 27 and 29. Where's 28? Is it this? Nope, that's the root portal. Wait, is that 28? No, that's 33. Number 33, the root portal. I just cut to the middle of the deck randomly. All right. Now I'm going to get these wisdom of Lord Ganesha cards. I might cut it fairly short today because I'm kind of sort of don't know what else to. I mean, I could come up with something to talk about, but also I can get to work, and that would be, a better usage of my time. If you walk away, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight. Gotta let it go. Yeah. All right. What y'all got from me today? I'll do three more and then pull the card on the top. Two more and then the card on the top. Three more. One more and then the card on the top. Okay. I guess I'll do both. Oh, we've seen you before. I've seen you at least. Card on the top. Okay. Nice. Card on the bottom. Clear your energy is the card on the bottom of the deck. This is interesting because of the two cards that came out. But Clear Your Energy is the bottom of the deck from Lord Ganesha. I'm going to read the blurb. Clear Your Energy is number 16. 16! I'm a grandmother. Understanding, number 13, and Delight, number 3, both came out. 13 plus 3 is 16. Interesting. Understanding and Delight. And then we have Clear Your Energy as sort of like what these two would equal, right? Where the book at? Where that book at? I'm gonna start with number 3. I'm only gonna read the blurb. I'm not gonna read the whole entry because the light is not in a way that makes it easy for me to read. So, or less difficult. I need to send these people an email and be like, hey, would it be possible for me to get like a PDF version of the book that I could put on my phone so I can invert the color so I can actually read it? That'd be great. Number 3, Delight says, we are born with the gift of laughter. Laughter is a natural medicine. In periods of healing, in periods of stress, in periods of duress, find a little bit of laughter. Even if you can't. My laugh, I've noticed, it's like I'll see like little things, or like it'll be an ad or something. It'll be like something so small will make me like really laugh. And that was more so the case like a few weeks ago. It's kind of sort of died down now, but it still happens sometimes. What was what? What was what? I don't remember. But yeah, I've been like laughing more. There's just like, I don't know. I enjoy it. Number 13 is understanding. It says, clear vision is the gift of seeing with not only your physical eyes, but also with your spiritual eyes. Ooh, so we got delight, which is about laughter. We have clear understanding, which is about seeing with your physical and spiritual eyes. When you realize with your real eyes, sorry. And number 16, clear your energy says, move through your fears to bring on change. Move through your fears to bring on change. Wow. So even though I didn't go full into it, I love that. So moving through your fears to bring on change is the bottom of the deck overall. I'm a grandmother. Oh, it's from a Vine. Ava, I don't remember. There was this little girl named Ava. She was real hot on Vine. She was adorable. I had a period of baby fever and she was not helping because I was like, if I have a daughter like Ava, I will love her. I mean, if I have any kid, I would probably love them. But so there was this Vine where she was like, I can't remember what she said at the beginning, but she's like, I am old. And then her mom was like, how old are you? And she's like, 16. I'm a grandmother. It's like 16 is not that old, girl. You should not be a grandma at 16. Babies having babies. My friend told me that a kitten at 1 year old can have babies, and that's why the stray populations can boom. I was like, kittens on the streets having kittens? Really? Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's what that was from. It was from an old Vine. Um, but understanding and delight. I think these two cards, and again, clear your energy is all about moving through your fears to get to change, right? But I feel like this is just the energy of like looking into the deeper. I mean, the Tower is the card that came out at the bottom of the deck, right? Was it? No, Nine of Swords at the bottom of the deck. The Two of Cups at the top of the deck. The Tower, well, Nine of Swords right there. It ain't got to be the Tower. That's you in the space of giving into your fear or trying to move past your fear. She got that old soul. She does. Like she was almost like, is she really like how old is she? Because she looks like she's like super young. But her comedic genius, her mind, I'm just like, she was like one of my favorite Viners, and she was like literally a child. And I would laugh so hard. And she had so many good vines. Anyway, I loved her. Um, now I'm looking at the back of the cards. So I guess I'm going to show you again. Understanding and delight is about being able to see past the difficulty in a situation to the merit of what it is trying to show you. And like I said earlier, there may be like with the death in the external, it may be these things happening that is ejecting us, keeping us from getting complacent, trying to put a little bit of a fire under our butts to get us to move. And it's not necessarily for us to, um, not necessarily for us to speak anything or to go to like negative emotion, but it's just realizing and understanding that it's to keep us from getting complacent, to keep us from getting stuck, and to keep us from getting stagnant. Sometimes, sometimes that's it. Okay, these are done. I think I'm gonna wrap this up here fairly soon. It's almost 12:30. I kind of don't really have anything else to talk about today, surprisingly. I mean, I could find something, but joy just flipped over. So we have understanding delight, cleaning your energy, and then joy. I love these cards so much. Joy is number 47, which is in 11. Hey, joy is number 47, which is in 11. And then we have harmony, number 22 at the bottom of the deck. Harmony and joy. When I align with the lighter, joyous forces of the universe, I experience calm, serenity, peace, and the best that life has to offer. I just tried to turn that into one of those the universe has your back cards. Let me do that again. I'm gonna pull two random cards and I'm gonna give it like a universe has your back type of message. Okay, I just pulled two cards. I don't know what they are yet because they're kind of fire. So, um, concentration number 9 and clear your energy number 16. Concentration and clear your energy. That's not really the universe has your back. That's something else. What immediately popped into my mind was when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change with concentration and clean your energy. Right. But I guess, and this would go more to like the understanding and delight, but it's like when I understand the deeper reasoning behind why some, I'm injecting the word some, when I understand the reasoning behind why some tragedies happen. Oh, I lost it because I tried to explain myself. Darn it. When I understand the reasoning behind why some tragedies occur, I don't know, I'm able to move past them. I lost it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I kind of don't want to start, but is there anything else just sort of on my brain? I mean, I talked about my dream last night. I talked about how I'm seeing all these YouTubers in my dreams now, which is weird. Um, I talked about whatever that was. I talked about the training in the dream, about how I guess that could be extrapolated to like there are people who are like doing things right now, and then there are people who are like, it's like everybody is doing stuff, but there are like some people on the track pulling trains right now, or they're building up to be able to pull trains right now, running the track. And there are some people who are just like standing on the scale doing a juice cleanse. And the people who are like running the track, like they're progressing further. It's like everyone is trying to get in shape right now. But it was like there were two people doing the juice cleanse and then one person actually running the track. Um, and I'm assuming it's a juice cleanse because like they were drinking something and standing on the scale trying to lose weight. I'm like, okay. But there was one person drinking something that appeared to make him bigger, but since he was moving, he actually was in the best shape by the end of the dream. And the other two people were in worse shape or not as good of a shape. But again, different purposes, different journeys, stuff like that. Maybe consider a more active approach right now would be a takeaway from that. Um, I'm at 1 hour and 49 minutes. I could push this out 10 more minutes. What else do I have? Um, I don't know. Maybe I'll just sit for 10 minutes in silence. I mean, my feet are still in the tub. And this will be the meditative part of the video where you just look at me with my eyes closed. I was I was meditating, and my friend, I guess he looked at me, or I was like still in it, and I guess my eyes were moving or something. I don't know. I don't know what I was doing. I was in meditation, and he was like, "Why are you moving your eyes?" Or like, "Why are your eyes doing that?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "Yeah, like your eyes were moving." I was like, "I don't know. Sometimes your eyes move, just like when you go to sleep, your eyes move." I was like, "Why are you looking at me anyway?" I feel like I don't have enough salt in this thing, but I know I do. Um, I'll think of something. Give me a second. Give me a minute. Give me a moment. I could pull some dice, but no, I don't want to pull anything. I just want to like go off the brain. Uh, I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is, and I've talked about it on my Instagram before, maybe because of whatever cards came out, but the power of narrative is immense, and the media taps into that power of narrative. And a bunch of people say that the media has the ability to turn people into sheeple and all of this stuff. But okay, throat. I'm not clearing my throat today. So if my throat wants to go out, I'm just gonna talk with a throat that ain't active because I'm not clearing it today. I'm not doing it. I ain't doing it yesterday. I ain't doing it today. Um, but it's like the power of the stories that we create is so immense and so important. And I feel like a lot of times we don't take stock fully of how the stories that people tell us about other people affects our opinion of those people, and about how we enter situations where we don't even allow ourselves to fully get to know those people because we're already coming to that interaction with a perception, right? And that can be anything as broad and general as isms, and it can be anything as specific as like a specific person. Like, I've heard this about you and I've heard that about you and blah 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 blah, and ain't no way that everybody is like lying about you, but it's possible for some reason. It happens. I mean, the likelihood of it, like, you would have to live that experience and see or not. But the same way we look at the power of media to influence the uninformed masses, that same effect is what we do to ourselves. When we create stories and narratives for ourselves, when we tell ourselves what we are worthy and deserving of, what we'll never have, what we have access to, when we limit ourselves, like, that's what's most detrimental to a lot of people, is the self narrative that they fall into. And then they allow other people to tell their story. And then they pick up and integrate the characterization from people on the outside. Um, and I remember I was talking to Nathan. He majored in philosophy and like archaeology or anthropology or something like that. So I'm like, dude is a everyday Indiana Jones. Anyway, but he talked about, first of all, he disillusioned me when it comes to philosophy because I thought philosophy was all about thinking and philosophizing, but philosophy is all about adapting patterns of thought that already exist. And I'm like, what? Because I thought philosophy was all about coming up and creating your own philosophy and learning to think philosophically about life and about everything. And that's why I was so like, oh, I could have done philosophy. I mean, I would say all the time, like, I wish I could be a modern day philosopher and just sit and philosophize about all kinds of stuff. But then he took philosophy classes and he was like, yeah, they basically just teach you what other people already thought. I'm like, wow, that sucks. And then, but anyway, he was saying that, like, there's this one person, I think she was a female, and apparently it's hard for female philosophers to get some kind of recognition, which I guess I don't see as strange or weird or atypical, but it's interesting in a sad way that some academic fields would still have those like barriers to entry, or that they would still discredit the females in those fields. Like, and y'all supposed to be like scientists and leading like people on the edge of thought and pushing us to go beyond, and it's like y'all still holding on to archaic stuff like this, really. But hey, science is based upon everything that's already come before, more or less. So I mean, that's why it's still archaic, because it's based on, stuff from, Sir Isaac Newton is still relevant. Not to say that he's not great, but it's like the world has changed since Sir Isaac Newton was living and breathing and kicking and doing all of that theory of relativity and stuff like that. Was that him? Or was that Newton? Yeah, Sir Isaac Newton. Was that Isaac Newton, or was that Newton? Newtonian physics, right? Non-Newtonian fluids and stuff like that. Newtonian fluids. Ooh, physics. Um, but he said there was someone who believed that there is no true continuity in life, that you can wake up one day and drastically change your story, that you don't have to follow this sort of set path that your narrative is putting you on. And we talked about it a little bit, and I was like, I think I'm kind of sort of a mix between the belief that our environment and the way that we're raised conditions us to go along certain paths, but I also believe that we can break those patterns at any time. But anyway, I guess I say all of that to say that it's important for us to analyze the narrative that we write for ourselves, especially in a time like this, or not especially in a time like this, but it's always important. Um, but honestly, with like all of those planets retrograde right now, I'd say, yeah, especially in a time like this, um, it's important for us to reanalyze our narrative, because depending on the story we tell ourselves, the way we write that narrative is going to influence how the characters react, right? It's going to influence the plot. It's going to influence the setting. It's going to influence the side characters, the choices, the decisions, the progression of the story, everything. And it goes back to all of that being backed by the Queen of Pentacles. Um, because if you tell yourself that, and it's like I guess a narrative can be sinister in a way, in the same way that the characters in a book aren't necessarily aware that there is an author who is writing their story. I feel like we aren't necessarily aware always, or sometimes, of how we write our own stories, and how our story has been written by society, and how our story has been written by family, especially in way of like generational curses and family struggles. It's like, your dad's an alcoholic, your dad's an alcoholic, your dad's an alcoholic, and now you're an alcoholic, right? Or in the same way, it's like your mom ends up with someone who ain't ish, and they end up with, her mom was with someone who ain't ish, and her mom was with someone who ain't ish, or so you end up with someone who ain't ish. Or in the same way of like, you know, it could be something as stupid as like, your dad was dumb, your dad's mom was dumb. And it's like this family, like these generational limits that sort of get passed on. Um, a lot of times we don't recognize how we kind of sort of author that ourselves and how we live by it. But it's going to be important, or there's this great opportunity. There is an opportunity to receive greater things if we can correct our narratives now. If we can fix our stories now, if we can fix what we are worthy and deserving of, if we can fix what happens to us, Like one thing that I've been saying, I feel like a lot lately is like, do you believe in magic? Do you believe in miracles? Because if you believe in miracles, miraculous things can happen. But if your character in the story is the one who always faces misfortune, it's like a typical teen movie about a girl in the beginning of the movie, or it could be about a dude sometimes. But it's like, here's this girl who's unpopular, who's not that great looking. She may be like really smart, but like nobody likes her, or she's not smart and she has nothing going for her. And this is her life. In the movie, things change and things happen, but in real life, people watch the movie to get that change that they never allowed to happen for themselves in their lives, right? But I don't know. I feel like I didn't really do a great job of fleshing that out, but that's what came to my mind to be like aware of right now. The power of self narrative, and what we allow ourselves to have, and the pitfalls and the traps that we allow ourselves to continue to fall into, because that's just my character. This is my character's tragic flaw. They always fall for the same thing. I'm like, okay, well. And then, like, we criticize and critique characters in movies and books and characters in general for being flat and for being static and for having no character progression. But if you look at people in real life, it's like, okay, well, why are you flat? Why are you static? Where's your progression? Why aren't you dynamic? It's like you sitting here in the same space you've been in all your life, and then you want to criticize and critique somebody else for being flat and stuck and dynamic, or flat and stuck and static, when you ain't got no more dynamism to you than they do. People talking about, it's like Bella Thorne's, that's not her name. Bella Thorne is the actress. What's her name? From Twilight. People talking about Bella from Twilight, about how she flat and she's like so this and she's so that, or maybe it was more Kirsten Stewart in the movies, right? Like she's flat, she doesn't have a range of emotion and blah 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 blah. But like people in real life will be just as flat. So it's like, okay, like maybe look at that as a mirror up there. Kirsten Stewart, yeah, I forget her name. I know her name was Bella. I was like Bella Thorne. What Bella Thorne got to do with this? Uh, but yeah, okay. I'm gonna shut this down. I'm gonna get one final message from all of these decks. It's gonna be one final message, but yeah, it's like stuff like that is important, and it ties into self worth, and it's kind of sinister in the way that it works, sort of behind the scenes. Just like a character may curse an author for writing their fate. We curse fate, but we don't like necessarily always take it upon ourselves to do anything to change it. Like we just accept it and keep playing the same character. And it's like, well, not my character, so sorry. Not sorry. You actually like her acting. I saw one of the Twilight movies. Maybe. I feel like I just had a piece of my dream that just tried to come back. I don't mind her. I mean, I didn't. I saw like one of the Twilight movies. I don't know if I've ever seen a complete Twilight movie because I was at my friend's house and I think his sister was watching like the end of Breaking Dawn Part 2, the one where they're fighting. But wasn't she was in something and I didn't mind her. Snow White and the Huntsman. Yeah, that's what I was. I was like, she was in something. But I was thinking like the Little Red Riding Hood. But I was like, no, that was Amanda Seyfried. Is that her name? I love her too. But yeah, I did enjoy that movie. Okay, final messages, final messages, final messages. Before I get to work, they said just get to work and just shut it down. But yeah, it's like sometimes you have to know and believe and operate in the way that you're worthy before the universe affirms your worthiness to you. And you can't tell yourself that you're worthy and then reject opportunities that, prove that worth. So, I mean, you can reject, you don't have to take an opportunity just because it presents itself. But If you're not taking an opportunity because because you don't feel worthy of it, then that's like proving to yourself how much you actually think you're worth, and like so you're all talk, no substance, all bark, no bite, and it's time to put some bite behind that bark. Like you tap into a tree to get some sap, and the tree taps back, and that tree is like, "Don't punch me with that thing." You can ask the tree, like, "I am not no given tree. I will not allow you to come and take and take and take from me." You got to watch those again. Oh, I love that movie. When she was, oh, no spoilers. Okay, two more, and then I'll just pull. I'll just look at what's at the top and then what's at the bottom. Y'all really ain't got no more messages? Oh, they like get to work. Okay, so top of the deck is the Two of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck is the Hermit. The Hermit and the Two of Pentacles. Like I was just talking about, that's all about worth. What you're really worth. Sometimes juggling is less of a juggle when you know what you're worth, right? It's like, oh, I could do this, or I could do that, or I could do this other thing. I don't really know which to choose. And it's like, okay, well, you're choosing between a, half-eaten 3-day-old moldy donut and, a fresh donut. I ain't had no sugar in a few days. If you can't tell, I actually got some Dr. Pepper yesterday because I just finished all my sugar and I was wanting more. But then I started drinking it. I can't even really enjoy Dr. Pepper anymore, and it's my favorite beverage. So it is what it is. I won't call it unfortunate. What was I talking about? It's like, yeah, some things are like non-choices. Like it shouldn't be a choice. And the fact that you're still trying to choose between these two things says something about worth, says something about values, but it also says something about desires at the same time. Uh, and that, I mean, with that Hermit card, that's all on you. All I wanna do is have some fun, and I gotta feel that I'm not the only one. What I wanna do. Majestic eminence and inspirational creation. Again, I've been seeing these cards a lot. There are like 40 something cards in this deck, and I feel like I see 10 different ones at the most. Where's the other 30 something? This is Priestess, Divine Feminine, and Worth. Majestic Eminence. Again, confirming that. Oh, y'all can't even see it. Again, confirming that Worth. Can y'all see that? Worth. Right there. It's backwards, but it say Worth. Worth. Priestess, Divine Feminine, and Worth. Again, coming into that Empress energy. Empress energy don't mean nothing though if you're not going to fight for it and protect it like the Emperor will. Like you can create all day, but to really see your creations take off and take flight, like there has to be some level of dedication and care to it, right? I mean, the Empress, the maternal side of the Empress can protect itself. So I guess it's not necessarily whatever, but you know. Anyway, I'm gonna shut this down here. I can't believe I kind of sort of actually ran out of stuff to talk about today. Ow. Maybe it's just meant for me to get to work and to stop talking. I got to be my own emperor and stop using this channel as a Knight of Wands. I mean, it ain't just a Knight of Wands distraction, Seven of Cups distraction, but I go too far sometimes. So I'm actually going to finish up my meditation today because I'm feeling it. And then I will proceed with the rest of my day. So have a good whatever, whenever you see this. If you're watching this now live, then keep having a good of it. And I will catch y'all tomorrow for the end of this mega reading. I mean, it's not even really a thing because I was already doing the Oracle cards, clarifying by cards, but it's slightly differently. I got 2 more days of dumping left. I don't know if I'll continue to do it on here or not, but I'll play it by ear. I can listen. I can take directions sometimes. I can be tamed. Not that I'll ever admit it, ever, but I can be. All right, I'll catch y'all later. Have a great one. Thanks for stopping in, Miyoshi.